Today we're doing something a little bit different than what I have done in the past couple of videos. I am actually putting this video on a new playlist called POVs. And that's where I use this mount, which goes on your chest, which I just showed you in the intro. I use that mount, and what I do is I go out and I basically show you everything that I do behind the scenes. So rather than having to vlog separately with this camera, I have one right on my chest that lets me be able to just not have to worry about angles or anything. It's just right there. And the cool thing is about it, you can see when I'm taking photos, you can actually see the back of my screen if I have it on the display mode. And so you can see what I'm looking at, how I'm looking at it right from my chest view. And so I'm going to be taking you along with me. These videos, I don't plan on them being long. This first one could be long because of it's just kind of experimental thing. But obviously I want to kind of get it down to where it's a 15 to 20 minute POV video where it's basically a vlog. It's just on my chest. So I want to separate vlogs, which will be more of me talking about a location, just kind of showing you my day. And I want to separate that into kind of the live behind the scenes, just kind of unplanned type of stuff will go into this category of video. And so I hope to have those two different playlists going at all times and just kind of having a range of content. And obviously my normal videos, tutorials, and just about everything else will be on just the general uploads. But I definitely want to be using this mount and showing you guys some of the best places I go. Today is a pretty warm day. It's about 70 degrees, and as you can see right here, there are cars, and you probably can't see it over that car, but there is a whole parking lot full of people here, and this is actually the side separate parking lot. So it's going to be busy, so I won't be talking a ton, which means I'm going to be cutting down on some of the footage. I probably won't be showing you my entire time here. I will only be showing you bits and pieces of me talking about some photos, probably leading up to the photo, then maybe a little bit after with some side comments. So as I said, I'm experimenting with this, so angles of cameras, times, and everything will vary within the first about 5 POV episodes, and so we'll be experimenting with those, but overall I'm just having a great time today. It's, as I said, it's about an hour outside of my way, and it is in some big backcountry, some big ridges, and this is actually a gorge trail, so we're going to see some pretty cool looking cliffs and some pretty cool looking terrain. So I'm hoping to not only just make this a shooting adventure, I want to make a video, obviously, shoot with some film cameras, and then I also want to kind of scout some potential locations so I can come back in the fall and the winter time. So today, actually, on my way here, I saw a bunch of trees have color, and so this is what I would nickname the first fall. And this is because you see, take that first fall out and then replace it with this. So this area has a lot of color in it already, so it's almost like a first kind of fall, I guess you would kind of call it. Even though fall, you know, all the leaves are falling down, this is the buds springing up. So a bunch of the landscape, actually, like looking around, these trees don't have them along the rivers, but out over in the middle of nowhere, a lot of trees already have their buds, so you get those orange and red colors. So it's kind of like fall just in the spring, and so you get to see a lot of those cool colors. And so maybe we'll see them along the trail, but if not, we'll have a lot of great experiences. It is a 4-mile hike, so I'm probably going to go about the 4 miles. It's an 8-mile trail, but the hike I'm going on is about 4 miles. So we'll get out there and show you some of the cool stuff. And hopefully this POV thing works out, because I'm really excited to show you all the behind the scenes to all of this. So from here on out, we will go to the POV angle and then probably occasionally pop back to this. But other than that, let's get out there and enjoy. So you pretty much see everything that I see. So from the camera to pretty much everything around me, you can pretty much see it all. So like coming up through this little trail here, there are a bunch of these offshoot trails like this. So I always like to just come up in here and see what's up here. Like out over here. So we're already right here, and you can see kind of some of the cool stuff here. I'm gonna shoot some cool buds and stuff. Like right here is a really cool little bud. So like right here, we're gonna center the focus. Boom. What's back down through here. This is the scouting portion where it's like, see, there's a little swamp over there, and you wouldn't have seen that otherwise. There's this huge tree here. We could grab some cool photos up of it, but there's a really cool photo here, actually, looking straight up on it. Looking at cool little areas like this, you can get shots like this, where if you zoom in, you can get crystal clear photos of some pretty cool fallen trees. It tells a story of probably something windy or something greater. Like, see, if I hadn't walked back this path, you wouldn't have seen this whole thing that's dug up here, kind of. That's why I always say have a game plan whenever you're here. And my game plan was I'm going to explore, going to see what's around. So like with this is kind of a cool little area. I always like to take pictures of reflecting ponds, and kind of cool. And then there's like cool little plants and stuff like this. Just interesting little snippets and stuff, so we'll just recalibrate. That's something that people really often forget to do, is recalibrate the settings. And so whenever you zoom in and shoot a macro shot or something closer in, a lot of times people will forget to redo their focus, and then that leads, especially shooting in manual, it leads to just some mistakes that eventually down the line will lead to great photo potentials that are now out of focus. Kind of some cool little spots down through here. You got trees like this, especially climbing up in. This is kind of a cool photo. I'll shoot it from down here. Oh yeah, that's a good photo. Gotta shoot back in a little bit. I'm gonna grab a photo of this here. Kind of a cool area. So kind of cool on 1/200th. I want to drop it to 125, just to get some depth to the photo without losing detail. So now we're heading down into the area where, like, if you look over here with that little cliff, it looks awesome, but it's just too covered in tree branches. So I grabbed some more photos, and I am now going to head down in here. If you can see up ahead, there is a whole ridge that is covered in these rocks and kind of little mini cliffs. Now you can hike over there and get good photos. There's a bunch of little paths over there, a bunch of little stuff that you could see. But I'm not going to be heading over there today. I could totally head over there another time. This area I'm heading down to is kind of this famous cut that they made right through the middle. And it creates two big rock walls. And you can kind of see it up here. And I'll keep filming through this, but it creates two big rock walls that you walk through. Especially in the fall, this would look amazing. So this is pretty awesome looking through here. You can kind of see this whole area is let off by this ridge. So there is this whole area, which is amazing. And as you can see, it's just big and vast. So like, shooting with this is pretty great. And I'll shoot some verticals too, but you get those trees up top that are incredible. So, a lot of really good photos so far. And if you've been enjoying this video, I would highly suggest that you click that like button and subscribe. It helps out a whole lot as I'm trying to get more into YouTube and growing my Instagram. And there's so many great views of this place, it's insane. And also, I've been putting up more photos, so throughout the videos I've been putting up photos, so hopefully you enjoy that too. We're coming up here on this railroad track crossing bridge. We'll probably head a little bit further into it, but we're starting to get to where the ridges are just so high that it's hard to get good photos up close because of the steepness of them. So we'll continue on for a little bit longer, keep showing you cool locations, and then we'll turn around and head back and then re-photograph some stuff. So my last spot before I turn around is this area right here. So I really like the depth in this photo that could happen. So taking one straight on, you see it's pretty basic, but you know there's more to this whole area. So I'm gonna step right down in here, and if you pull your screen out and get into a really weird position, you could get a really good photo of this area. And you need to lean forward if you have to and add a bit of zoom to it, because adding zoom will also add a little bit of detail to the shot. So I have a creative mindset when it comes to this photo because I know what I'm going for. I've seen photos taken by other photographers, and that's why every single time I go on Instagram, I am not just looking at what photos people are getting, I'm studying. Alright, awesome. Taking photos like that is key for a good photographer, because whenever you study other people's photos, you tend to look at what makes them pop, what makes them catch your eye. And so like with that right there, it's just because it's in the middle of nowhere. You have a fallen tree with moss all over it. You have a bunch of fallen trees, huge roots and other stuff that is climbing up the hill. And then you have two wet rocks that would probably be a waterfall at some time of year. Being able to have a concept in your mind when you're taking the photo is really what makes a photographer good, because if you have a photo in mind but you don't know how to edit the photo, you won't be able to make the most of it. But if you know what you want to do with the photo but you don't know how you want to take the photo, you won't be able to, because you're too focused on post-processing. And that's what my journey started out as a photographer. I only shot for the edit. I didn't shoot to make the edit easier. I shot for the edit. You could do a combination and shoot to make the edit easier, and then you edit to make the most of the photo. Then you will be a good photographer, have great results, and end up growing as a photographer overall. So when you go back through and you retake photos, it allows you to be more creative. It allows you to look at the same thing differently, and if you don't have that open mindset, you're not going to get better shots than you did the first time, because every time you take the photo, you should get better and get better results than the time before. Okay, so I shot that little cliff right there with the yellow on it a little bit darker than I did the first time around, because about however long ago it was,
I decided that I was going to shoot it just kind of this big broad area like I'm looking at right now. But I decided that I wanted to tighten it up and actually make it darker. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm actually going to come a little bit further down so I get this fence, this little fence that's right here out of the way. And I'm going to shoot a little bit zoomed in. And in this situation, you want the center of focus to be down the path, obviously, because the sun is at an angle pushing the shade over those whole areas. So that's why you don't save photos till later. You just shoot more photos. Like, see, I was already coming back through here. I already came through here, but I decided to experiment, come up through some of these trek paths. And then I want to shoot a photo out over this little swamp area here. So I'm going to come up if this tree that's in the middle wasn't in the way. And you could probably work at the photo a little bit and see if you could get it to that better quality. But in most situations, you got to kind of work with what you're stuck with. Might be able to go up in there. So I guess the best way to go about this is by stepping over this and then going through up and around this way. Look at this area. This view is incredible over here. And see if there's a better photo. This is like a little makeshift path, I guess. So I'll hike over. And this is as far as I want to go. So then I will also try this angle. I think these photos are going to be pretty worth it. Oh yeah, that's good, that's good. Alright, so we'll head back down. Got some amazing photos here today. And we're about halfway back. We're about halfway back to where we parked. You will never see the same place the same way you did the first time you saw it. So essentially what that means, and why I always think about that, is this place, if I come back to it, I'm going to remember spots. I'm not going to be as much of an explorer as what I was this time, not hiking back through those areas. Instead, I'm gonna come back with a game plan. I'm gonna know exactly what I'm gonna take. I'm just walking to that spot. And so there isn't as much time and as much just free walking around after you see an area. You're looking at it in detail the first time, seeing literally everything. But the second time, the third time, clear up to the 10th time, every time you see it, you tend to look less and less around. You tend to just be tunnel visioned on one spot, one photo, one idea that you're working with. But whenever you are new to something, you can enjoy it more. But don't let yourself not enjoy it because you've seen it before. Go for the other stuff, the stuff that you missed whenever you come back. Something that I was testing out this time with the GoPro, since I'm wearing it on my chest on the new harness, is shooting in 30 frames per second. And I'm going to make a whole video on why it's important to know what FPS you're shooting in. But it was quite interesting to use this harness. Now obviously I haven't seen the video back yet, and I haven't seen how the whole thing went according to the GoPro. You know, the angle of it could be all weird. It could be super shaky, so I'd have to stabilize the footage or whatever. And so seeing it all and experiencing it all from this view right here, you could see every time I put the camera up. You could see probably what the settings are. Now, if you couldn't see the settings due to the light, or if it's from the display, I could change the display. But just being able to see what I see, you're probably 3 or 4 inches below my chin, so you're about 6 inches below my eye, and so you're seeing just about everything that I'm seeing along this trip. Now, obviously, I haven't been recording every single bit of it, and you're not seeing every single minute, every single second of it, but you're seeing all of the important, my favorite parts, and that's something that, you know, you work on and you do longer. The longer you do it, the more you get used to shooting it a different way. So yeah, you can experience just so much more life than what you normally do, and that's what I like being a photographer and filmmaking, is capturing things people don't get to see enough and giving them experiences that they don't normally get. Show and share all of that with you all is something that I have found is a passion of mine. I used to just think I like going out taking photos for me, but being able to share that with other people and share and see their excitement into the stuff that you've seen captured and have been able to put together and create something out of is something that I find very rewarding, and that's why I started this YouTube channel and doing everything with this, is showing you all my experiences. You can really get to experience and enjoy just about everything to do with nature. So I wanted to thank you so much for watching my very first POV video. Hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully we get out and do a lot more of these as I start planning and doing things more actively with photography and really growing as a photographer. I will be doing this more and more and more. So once again, please like and subscribe to the video, and I hope to see you in the next video. And don't forget to follow my Instagram to see a bunch of these photos posted and what I end up doing with them.